we arrive at Owd Roa, perhaps the most difficult to say of all Tennyson poems. The I no Mandur o use to be calling in Roa, 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 for the dogs stow on to off, an es blind, can neither stan nor goa, but I the ans fur to ma'ak is owed, agge as happy as ever I can. For I owe us owed, roever more, nor I ever odd motal man. Thou's road of is back when a babby afore thou was gotten to owd, for ed fetch and carry like out. Was Alice as good as God, but ed fight with will when fout, could howd awan, and Roa was the dog as nod when and we're to bury his boan, and kept his head hope like a king, and ed never not down with is ta ail, for ed never done nout to be charmed on, when we was halabi de Allah, and sarved me so well when lived that dick when comes to be the odd. I thinks as I'd like for to have some sort of a service read, for is more good sense na the parliament man at stands for us and I'd vote for in my own sen if could but stand for the sure, fa full untrue. Them words be a scripture and fa full untrue. Ul be fun a pa for short legs 10 times for one, apa two, and ma'ebe del walk apa two, but I nas they runs upon 4. Bedtime dicky, but what it till the it ours it be stricken the hour. For I wants to tell the Owd Roa when we lived, I halabi the al 10 years sin na a the moon no but have one strange and out ferund the house and belt long afore my dae. We hf the chimneys are twistened and twined like a band o hae. The fellers as ma'akas them pictures ood cum at the fall o the year, and sattel their ends upon stools to picture the door porch leader, and the hegel as head to heads standing fear o the broken stick, and they never erred seed seach even as growled haul o'er the brick, and there I the house one night, but it's down and all on it now. Go on into Mangalos and Tan-ups and Ra'avd slick through by the pillow. Theater when the house were a house. One night I were sittin' alone where roever a third my fiat and sleepin' still as sto on. Of a Christmas of an as cowed as this, and the midders as white, and the fences all on 'em bolstered oop where the window that night. And the cat were asleepin' alongside roever, but I were awake and smokin' and thinkin' o' things do ant ma'ak dyson sick wi' the cack. For the men after supper sing their songs and ed their beer. Okay, that's why this is like this. He was drunk when he came up with this, right? And ed go on their ways. There was no but three, and no on them fear. They was all on 'em feared. Oh, the go asked, and doesn't not sleep up the house. But Dicky, the go asked, mo astlins, was no but a rat or a mouse. And I looked out once the day, and the da'il was all of a thaw. For I seed the beck coomin' down like a long black snack the snaw. And I hard great hit-ups. Oh, the snaw slushin' down fro the bank to the beck. And then as I stood the door I felt it drip o' my neck. So I turned in again, and I thought, oh, the good old times at was go on. And the Munni, they mad by the war, and the times at was coomin' on. For I thought if the start was a gone to let in the foreigners, at how it ever was British farmers to stand again o' their fiat. However was I to find my rent and pay and to pay my men. And along the feller as turned his back of hissin, thou slept the chamber above us. We couldn't hard the call. Saw Muther telled ma to bring tha down and thy cradle and all. For the jello the farm at slept wi' tha then ed gotten will it av. For to go that night to full oak by cause the Christmas it of. But I clean forgot my lad when Mutherd gotten to bed, and I slip my chair hoop on end and the frea traad run my yard. Till a dreamed at Squire walked in, and I says to him, Squire, you're late. Then I seed at is for us were as red as the Yule block theatre the graat. And it says, can ye pay me the rent tonight? And I says to him, no, and catched howd hard o my harem. Then out tonight thou shall go. Thou'll niver, says I, be a turnin' ma out apa Christmas Eve. Then I walked, and I found it was rover a tuggin' and tearing my sleeve of, and I thought as it go on, click on wood, for I know wa is nod is intent. And I says, get away, ye beast, and I fetched him a kick and went. Then tumbled upstairs, for I heard him as if broken his neck. And I'd clear forgot, little Dicky, thy chamber door would it snack. And I slept in my chair again, with my harem hanging down to the floor. And I thought it was rather a tuggin' and to Aaron me was nar a fool. And I thought at I kicked him again, but I kicked thy mother instead. What art a snorting? Snoring, dear fool, the house is afire, she said. Thy mother ed bean a nagging about the gel o' the farm. She often's I'd spy summat wrong when there warn't not a morsel o' harm. And she didn't not solidly me an I were gotten that way to the bed. Bad. For the gal was a howry, a trollop as ever trapest the squad. But mother was free of her tongue, as I often's have telled my sin. So I kept my chair, for I thought she was nobbut a willin' ma then. And I says, I'd be good to thou, Bess, if thou'd only was let ma be good. But she scalped my half over the chair and screamed like a howl gone wood. Yaman run for the letter. Get up if yar on ya was good for out. And I says, if I bean't no a was not now a da is God good for nout. Yet a bean't sich a nout of all nouts, as ul hallis do as bid is bid. But the stairs is a fire, she said. Then I seed a cryin' I did, and she behold, ye man, sa'av little Dick, and be sharp about it, and all. So I runs to the yard for a leather, and sets him again the wall, and I clowns and I mashes the winder hin when I gets to the top. But the hat druv out in my haze till I felt my sen ready to drop. Thy muther was howden the leather and telling me not to be scared, and I was afeared, or I thinks the est was, as I wasn't afeared, but I couldn't see fur the smoke where thou was a liggin, my lad. And nor other was theatre, the chamber, a yellin and yelpin like mad. And thou was a be'alin likewise, and a squealin as if thou was bit, and it wasn't a bit, but a burn, fur the merks o' thy shoulder yet. Then I called out, Roa, 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 thou. I didn't half think as at ear, but it coomed through the fire with my bairn his mouth to the window there. He coomed like a hangle, oh mercy, as soon as it heard is na'am, or like tother hangle is scripture at summon seed the flaam. When summoned haxed for a son, and it promised a son to she, and Roa was as good as the hangle. It saw even a son for me. Saw I brout the down, and I says, I mun go up again, for Roa, go up again, for the varmint. I telled yes, I mun go, and I climbed up again to the winder, and clemmed Owd Roa by the eard, and is coomed off my hands, and I talked in at first for the ad, for it smelled like a hearse a singing, and seemed as blind as a poop, and half on I'm bare as a blubbin. I couldn't wacken I'm oop, but I brout I'm down, and we got to the barn, for the barn wouldn't burn, with the wind blowing hard, tother way, and the wind wasn't like to turn, and I kept a callin' Owd Roa till it waggled his tail for a bit, but the cocks kept a crawin' and a crawin' all night, and I ears em yet, and the dogs was a yellin' all around, and thou was a squealin' Dyson, and mother was naggin' and groanin' and moanin' and naggin' again, and I heard the bricks and the bunks rumble down when the roof give way. For the fire was a ragin' and a ravin' and roaring like judgment day. Warm and now fear sourly, but the barn was a cowed as out, and we cuddled and huddled together, and happed worsens oop as we mount, and I brout Roa round, but mother bean sa soaked with the thou. At she couched death o cowed that night, poor soul, I the straw. Ha off the parish run oop when the rig tree was tumblin' in to La'at, but it's all our now. Hall, hour, and 10 years sin. To La'at, the moon get tha to bed, but I'll coom and I'll squench the light. For we mo'ant, ev now, more fires, and soa, little Dick, good night. And that's quite a difficult one. But you don't have to be trapped in mistakes. You can slowly bring yourself out of bad habits. Sometimes the consequences for certain choices can last quite a time.